Yo,
We
Okay.
are on. And we're live.
All right. Live
live
from.
from the bottom of everywhere. Here's Scott to tell us what we're doing.
Oh no,
It's game show talking fun, folks.
Hmm.
And then it's live podcasting. What can you say? Welcome to the show, folks. I'm David Hammond. This is game show talking fun. Works pretty simple. If you want to get in on our conversation, just shoot my friend over there. There's Scott and I am, and he'll be more than happy to give you the link to our discussion.
But
First, let me introduce you to who we have in here tonight. We have a new person with us tonight. Will, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Cold, but good.
All right, good to hear. Here, and of course we have Scott.
Yep.
Over there on the end, we have Elliot Shiv. He's been with us once or twice,
also known
and
as
he's with us
Mountain
tonight.
Hawk.
Yep. Tonight, we're going to talk about the career of Alex Trebek, and we're going to touch on his career in full, mainly because with recent news, we have to wonder whether or not Alex is about to wrap up his career in show business. More about that later. But let's talk Smash or Trash right now. Now, Will, let me explain what this is. We're going to mention random events in that are lately in the world of game shows. You simply tell me whether or not it's good or bad. Good being a smash.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, then, with that being said, and we'll kick this off with and his new game show, Child Support. Essentially a cross between the old 80s game show, Child's Play, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Elliot, Smash or Trash, take it away.
Well, I saw this show once, and I think you could keep it going. I would say it's a smash for now because it's a tough game to play. If you don't know the answer, then you're relying on kids to get it right, and well, relying on kids is always dicey. So that could be an improvement. Yeah, this Scott for demonstration. There's the dice, but I like watching it. I think
it's a D20, but
yeah, having kids to rely on makes the game tougher. But it's a new twist on an old favorite.
Kind of like
Scott, you're not.
I was gonna add something to Elliot's what I was saying. Kind of like how in Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, where you had to rely on the kids as well.
That's what it feels like.
I mean, I haven't seen the show. Working late sometimes and everything. I read about it. I'm gonna have to agree with Elliot on it. It's kind of dicey, but the way that it kind of looks like, it looks kind of like, dude, their version of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So I'm gonna have to trash.
Okay. Well, your thoughts.
Well, I kind of want to see more of a smash. I mean, fifth grader kind of was successful in a way. I mean, and kids, film with kids always seems to have some sort of success. When it comes to TV and whatnot. So I'd give that like a smash for that.
Okay. I can't. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to have to basically catch a full episode just to see how much of a difference it is, or if it's just almost like a rehash. It sounds like it sounds like a rehash, but it also seems like the millionaire and just applies to the kids as well. So it's still be somewhat fun though.
Okay. All right then. And I haven't seen a full episode yet. So I'm basing this on the fact on what the premise of the show is. Like I said, in my opinion, it's Child's Play meets Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It
More
works.
like more like fifth grader, actually.
Okay. Oh,
Well,
And
it works somewhat. If you ask me, Fred Savage as a game show host, but he's actually pulling this off. Oh, I'm going to give it a minor smash until I see more episodes.
and I am surprised that they got Fred Savage to host it. He wouldn't have been my first pick, though. To get
We'll
to
talk
host
about
this.
that's a good point.
Okay. Next, Ellen DeGeneres. Game of Games. NBC. They've been known to do this for quite a they've did this for quite a while. This has been in the planning stages for a while. It's finally made it to air. Elliot, smash or trash? Go.
I wish I would have seen an episode, so I can't say anything at this point. Move on.
Okay. All right. Scott, smash or trash? Ellen DeGeneres, Game of Games.
A little bit of the premiere episode that they did of it, and I think Ellen herself, she's got that enthusiasm that she does good with her talk show on NBC. That was a starting ground for her with that. So, from what I've seen, I'll be on the fence with this one.
Okay.
So I'm on the middle. I give Ellen points because she has that ability to be a great game show host.
Okay. Well, have you seen Game of Games?
Just mostly caught the previews, and from what it looks like, it reminded me of that Simpsons episode where they're in Japan. They had to go to that crazy game show.
The episode 30 Minutes Over Tokyo.
Very much.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. And then again, I've also seen other shows like this when I was just watching a couple of the Japanese game shows for a while. And it's, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, Ellen is a great hostess. You know, she's got that charisma. She can get all the general crowd going and casual people. But a game show like this, I kind of wish that she would be more devious, kind of like that mischievous glimmer to it. So, I mean, I have to see the full episode, but so far it's like it just, I don't know. It feels like a mismatch for some reason with that. Like, you know, I kind of want to see with that more that, you know, a gleeful look that, you know, like, you know, innocent, and then afterwards like like that, you know.
Now, I saw the 2 premiere episodes that they did. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Really didn't see anything wrong with how Ellen was conducting the proceedings.
Okay.
I did see a lot of, how would you say, off other formats for this. I saw elements of Russian roulette. I saw elements of winning lines. And you could say was a ripoff of the Wonderwall from Winning Lines.
I think you could throw in the stun aspect from Double Dare and Minute to Win It.
Yeah.
That too.
Sometimes
but right now,
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but sometimes taking a little bit of column A, column B, column C, and seeing what works, you know, that's, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes you get a hit, sometimes you get a miss with it too.
Okay. But I'll call it a smash right now.
Okay.
All right, then. One more subject for Smash or Trash, and then we'll get into the main topic of tonight's conversation. Scott, I'll let you lead the last topic for Smash or Trash.
A couple weeks ago, well, I think it was last week or the week before, I don't remember. I saw it on my newsfeed from a fellow game show friend of mine. Season 2 of The Gong Show.
Now, I wasn't too keen on season 1. I thought it stunk up the place. So this is
Now,
Trash.
What about the original show? What about the original Gong Show with the late Chuck Barris?
Now that worked. Now for some reason that did work, and it still works. It still works today. By the way, the person behind me is my beautiful wife, Shannon.
Hello.
Well,
And the
So-
ugly one is in the closet.
Put 'em boom. What about your take on this?
Well, I think she's beautiful. What do you say?
No. I'm talking about the Gong Show.
The Gong Show. Well, I remember watching the old Gong shows way back when they were on the air. So, and
no, I'm talking about right now with
the
season
new
2.
one, I have not seen. I really don't care for it. I think we already have way too many talent shows, and this one is like one made for. I lost on American Idol, so now I'm here. They wouldn't accept me. They wouldn't accept me there. So this is like the B-list American Idol,
right?
And
Or the worst acts in.
Yeah, and I'm not really a fan of those talent shows, especially if they're masquerading as game shows. So
that's right.
I'm not.
I will say this about America's Got Talent.
I'm not into this. It's just not my thing.
Now, I will say this about America's Got Talent, and the one that they had this year, the with the marionettes, that was a great act. That whole competition. The other reason I tune in sometimes is the magic acts. I like seeing the magic acts that they have on the show, but that's getting off topic. Will, what is your thoughts on Gong Show season 2 over on ABC?
Surprised. I'm completely surprised because I didn't expect it to actually get a season 2. I'm not sure if it's not so much because of its quality, but
okay, who's eating potato chips?
I think that's Dave.
What's that?
Oh, it was asking a question about something.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All right, because his point about too many like competition shows like that, it's very valid. Besides, you got America's Got Talent, you got The Voice, and you had like American Idol for a while, which is also making a comeback. Then you had things like So You Think You Can Dance, and like so many things going on. And the Gong Show is not like B level; it's like D level. Most of the time, just the worst talent that couldn't get anywhere else. It's like, well, you want to compete in this show? It's like, all right.
Now, I do want to add one other thing to this, Mr. Trash, and this was something I read in the New York Post for everyone. I want to explain this to you. When ABC does bring back American Idol, I think they said in the article that they are cutting out the bad acts, ones that during the audition process they're cutting out those bad the bad performance acts to that. How do you think that's going to affect the show? Do you think it's done that?
And it's gonna feel more like America's Got Talent, so it's gonna try to match that, and it's almost gonna be like it's not like it's trying to adopt on that to try to write off that success instead of trying to make it a little more innovative. Because part of the comedy of the Gong Show was the bad acts. When you think about it.
No. This is for American Idol. American Idol is cutting. Yeah, American Idol is cutting out the bad audition acts.
Wasn't that the point?
Yeah. What actually? American Idol. It started because of the bad acts and because of the harsh criticisms.
Right, but we also got to see more in depth into the who makes it through and everything.
William Hung. That's it.
But how do you feel about them?
If you could pick a good William Hung, that'll make the show. But other than that, other than the occasional William Hung guy, you're not. You really have to weed out the bad acts. No one really wants to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know for a point it was split into three things. I mean, because even the other shows, he didn't get the answer came up for it was like one, you had the really good acts that that got on, and then you had the second part was like all the acts that were kind of like in the middle that just didn't get in the air, and then you had the really bad ones that made the air because they were so bad.
Right.
But
they would show some of them.
Right, just not as like a
Disney wants to cut all of that out, so they want to show like the good ones that get through, and like the ones in the middle, and not completely show any of the bad ones. So how do you vote on this one? Do you smash or trash that?
American Idol being Disney-fied is what that is.
Thank you.
So Dave, how do you vote on that one? Smash or trash?
Trash. Even Simon Cowell, who is the creator of American Idol and who is also the creator of America's Got Talent, he knew you had to let you had to let some of the bad acts get on TV just for the fact to get a laugh or two,
and to show that they were keeping honest with the show, and to keep the show honest.
Right, cutting out the bad acts dignifies the show.
Yeah,
and I'm also the show, but reading about that, I too will trash as well.
Okay.
And with that, I turn it back over to you, Dave.
All right. With that being said, folks, the career of Alex Trebek.
Yay.
Let me pull this up here real fast. My notes, anyway.
Yeah. I hope you didn't.
Alex Trebek.
Sorry. I hope you didn't mind me adding that last one on there because I just remembered reading about it over this past weekend.
Okay. Now, Alex Trebek is from Canada, Ottawa, Canada, actually. His career in radio, like most game show hosts, casting company. He was, you could say, for many years before he broke into game shows, he was Canada's Dick Clark, in a way. In case you didn't know that, he hosted TV shows, played a lot of rock and roll on his radio show when he wasn't reading the news, and that's how he got into that business. He really needed to pay the bills for college.
Interesting.
But I think that's how a lot of the game show business got. A lot of the legends in this business got in because of radio. Elliot, am I wrong here?
Yeah, there's quite a few of the original game shows. A lot of the game shows themselves.
And I can name a few. Sorry to cut you off, Elliot. I can name a few of the game show hosts that actually started off in radio. Bob Barker. Wayne Martindale was one of the big ones that started off in radio too.
Yeah.
Those are the two that come to mind that actually started out on radio.
Well, I don't know if you can contribute anything here, but pretty much Alex Trebek starting his career, like most of the legends in this business. Your thoughts?
Hey, I was on the radio. Now I'm on Google Hangouts.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I do game playthroughs on YouTube, and
you know what? I'm still on the radio, so
you do the sports, I think, right?
Right. You don't hear me very often, but I am there occasionally saying.
Yeah. I've done Twitch video game throughs, and even right now for my classes, I'm doing presentations that do involve a lot of audio work. So, but for a game show host,
So this is not really. So pretty much recognizable names have their foot somewhere in the radio business.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good place to start, especially if you develop
I
charisma.
forgot. Did Monty start off on radio too?
He did. I think he did.
Back to that we'll have to go back to the podcast and
Yeah.
one that we did on Monty.
Now, Alex's first foray into game show hosting was not Wizard of Oz, as many people think. He hosted his first game show. Yeah, that was his first American show. His first game show in general, he was the host of a high school quiz bowl in Ottawa.
Now, would that be kind of like would that be kind of like the one that Matt Allinger used to do, Quizbusters? In
Yes.
that kind of sense. In that sense.
In that kind of sense. It'd be more like GE College Bowl, but yeah, you've got the idea.
Reach for the top.
The top. It was a high school quiz bowl in Canada.
Man.
It was his first hosting gig. I don't think Alex has been on the record saying he never wanted to pursue a career in show business. He actually wanted to be a doctor of all things.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I
did not know
here,
that.
What's that?
Yeah, he wanted to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Going through here.
I'm just wondering why actually made him change his mind. Was it because of the
Well, he saw the money coming in, he just kept on getting the offers eventually.
Yeah.
Either that or it just didn't work out for them being the doctor.
possibility?
Or along the lines
Either that or this is the second Alex Trebek of 12. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think he went to med school. That I do know. He had the aspirations to go to med school, but I know he never attended. He did graduate from University of Ottawa with a degree in philosophy. He won.
Yeah.
Now, this goes. Now, he and his career was rooted at Clark's in real show he hosted on television was a music show called Music Hop 3. Pretty much a Canadian American bandstand.
Wow. That's when all those bandstand, all the shows like that, like bandstand, started spawning. Between those two.
Okay, and it was 1973, United States, and he got his first U.S. gig hosting an oddity of game shows called The Wizard of Oz.
It sounded
which
like
I have never seen.
Never seen it.
I've seen clips, very tiny clips of the intro music. I think that's all that's available now. I think that the series has been wiped. Like with all those other, back in the day, that was the practice. They taped the show, they ran it, then they
reused the tapes.
Because it was expensive back then.
With the exception with the game shows from Mark Goodson, I think, correct?
Yeah.
No, Mark Goodson. Well, no, you're right. Mark Goodson made sure to preserve his library.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
But then again, so did Bob Stewart.
So who?
I think they said they would pay for the tapes to keep them preserved.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, wait. So Goodson was the one who actually preserved his tapes, but most of the other shows, like productions, didn't. So, with this one being Wizard of Oz, there's not many episodes available at all.
No, it wasn't a Goodson Todman production.
Right.
Pretty much anything. Two producers at the time that really preserved their tapes. It was Goodson Todman and Bob Stewart. Point to preserve his tape. Goodson Todman made it a point to preserve theirs too.
Right. And wasn't that the same also for Barry and Enright too at the time?
What's that?
Yes, it was the practice of Barry and Enright. Really? Okay, because the first few seasons of was thought to be lost. They were found in a vault at a TV studio in New York.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was 1 year later. I'm fine. Yeah. It was 1 year later in 1974 when Alex Trebek got his first real hit in the United States. Little game we still talk about today. High Rollers. Elliot, your thoughts? I mean, fairly simple game based on the kids' version game, Shut the Box. Was Alex the right choice? Did Peter pick someone better, or was Alex the right choice for High Rollers?
Oh well, he fit the show. I really don't see where he would be. Where he could have done worse. Maybe he could have done better, but hey, the show was a fit for him. He ran the thing well. He knew what to do, and they brought the show back, so it must have got something good.
Elliot, your thoughts. Alex Trebek as host of High Rollers.
You're looking at someone who actually plays craps and everything as a dice shooter myself. The game is very simple. That's what made it enjoyable. The game was simple, and it even with the trivia.
We're losing you, Scott.
You all right there?
That could, yeah, I'm
we
here.
Lost you.
But no, it right choice for it. He was the right choice. The game is simple enough. It's something that you can play on the road, or even to this day, it's a game show I would like to see brought back.
All right.
Hey,
well,
I can even bring up the spreadsheet to play it if you wanted to.
Yep.
Will, have you seen Alex Trebek host High Rollers?
Once, only one episode. And
okay, how do you think he did?
Kind of alright, but it didn't feel like you could tell he was still very new, especially when he wanted to do more like more intellectual stuff. I mean, here it was just like simple. Here's the question and roll the dice. That's what I remember from that episode. Like, it was just very simplistic, and it just felt too simplistic for him. Because mine was more last time, but yeah.
Yes, Brian, welcome to the show, bud.
I made it. I'm here somewhere.
Okay. We're talking about the first run of High Rollers.
Okay. So we've gotten into the aspect of having just of not even letting the contestants roll the dice, but they probably hadn't thought that far ahead in the early days of the show.
All right, then. Now, Brian, Alex Trebek as host of High Rollers. We'll talk about the second run of High Rollers. Your thoughts on how Alex Trebek conducted the proceedings of the first run of High Rollers?
Well, I think in general, like both runs of High Rollers, I didn't really see for what we've been able to see from both eras, because obviously both runs have very limited episode release due to the practice of wiping the tapes from prior to 1980 and things like that, whatever.
We were talking about that earlier.
Sure, yeah. But from what I've seen from both, I mean, he maintains a very fast and consistent pace throughout both versions of the show, honestly, because really, when you look at it, it genuinely was a fast-paced game. He definitely, throughout both versions, seemed consistent with regards to giving the contestants as much advice as he was allowed to give without forcing or doing too much influence toward having them pick one set of numbers versus another, or whatever the case is. But I mean, he would definitely, after a contestant made a decision, he would offer his opinion of, okay, that was a good selection of numbers to pick, which in the first version of the show meant more prizes could be flipped over and off the board, or whatever the case is, like that. So he did the, I guess you could kind of call it a traffic cop sort of thing or whatever, and he handled it pretty well.
Okay. Now, the next show that Alex did, hold on. How long did the original High Rollers last?
2 years.
It was what, 1 or 2?
74 to 76.
And it was
2 years. Okay. All right, then. In 1976, Alex Trebek.
Time for Christmas.
Because does his first show for CBS, the only show he did for CBS. 2 shows he did for Mark Goodson. Double Dare.
I remember.
Double Dare, not the Nickelodeon version.
Yeah, no, definitely not that one.
When I first heard about it, I was like, what? And then seeing that format was, I didn't like that format.
Well, do you know anything about the original Double Dare?
Yes, I've seen quite a few episodes.
Okay.
I was surprised that they used a different pitch of the theme song that was going to be recycled for Card Sharks.
Was. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
The
Brian
style was the same too.
Brian,
It's a.
to you first.
We'll continue. I'm sorry. That was my fault. We'll continue.
Okay. Brian, you first. In your opinion, how did Alex conduct the proceedings of Double Dare? There's not really much interaction you can do with contestants in isolation booths, considering the whole idea of the game is for these contestants to try to guess puzzles without being able to communicate.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, yeah, the idea of getting the trivia conveyed and stuff like that. I mean, he found his way in certain respects to find amusement with the clues whenever possible or whatever. But obviously, you're correct, right? He couldn't say too much. He couldn't give too much, give it away and stuff like that. If anything, he found the amusement when the wrong answers were given and things like that. That was about the biggest part of where he could show any sort of personality or things like that. This was just very straightforward. If anything, you could probably say it served as a prelude to how he would conduct the proceedings of Jeopardy, because being a trivia style thing, it plays to a similar fashion.
Okay. Yeah. Elliot, your thoughts on...
Oh, and I'm sorry. Before we say it, I just want to say one fast little thing before we get thought of Double Dare. Because Will mentioned about about how that was the original show that used the theme for what became Card Sharks a couple of years later. I gotta say this for record. It also used the same intro style where you see like the piece of the logo of the show. They put it in each of the 4 corners ever. And I got to tell you this, if you've never done it before, and if you have, obviously, I know that Buzzard doesn't have it on in reruns. It doesn't have it on the package right now. But if you have the ability to queue it up on YouTube and put it on your big TV and things like that, and if you've got like a really large room, turn all lights on your house, put on the intro to Double Dare. It's actually pretty interesting to see the lights really does a good strobe effect around the room. You should try it sometime.
Were you drunk when you did this?
No, it honestly works. It's pretty cool if you try it.
No,
Elliot,
and
your
also
thoughts
it's
on
Christmas light feel to it because of the reds and greens.
Right.
I think that's probably the reason why.
Elliot, your thoughts on how Alex Trebek conducted the
Double Dare, yeah, okay. That was, good show, and he really kept his cool, and people make mistakes, and it's what that at least he was no Drew Carey. Drew Carey makes fun of contestants where Alex does not. Making fun of contestants really does not really belong in a game show unless the game show is meant to be that way, and this was not one of those. He really
this was.
Yeah. Price is
But then
right.
again, we have to look at of Double Dare. What's his name? Jay Wolpert.
Yeah.
He was a straight shooter.
Yeah. So if you got, also you got to take directions from your director. If your director wants to go silly, then you end up being like Drew Carey. But he says be serious. Well, you got Alex Trebek, and he's been playing the serious role for quite some time.
Right. Okay. But the thing is, I want to mention about Jay Warper. He always liked to think outside of the box. Look at
that's true. But we'll save Jay Wolper for another night.
Right.
Got your thoughts on how Alex Trebek conducted the proceedings of Double Dare?
Oh, he did great. I think he handled the show great, and I had GSN, and when it was on Buzzer, I always used to watch it, and I enjoyed it. I like, though, in the first contested interaction was when we went to go see the spoilers, how he would get the audience to boo against them and everything, and how he would also sometimes help or to how the spoilers round was played and everything. Like with what you could give and what you can pass. And I like how he always used to say, okay, let's see if we can get that clue past the spoilers and everything. How he would, see how everything would all play out. And you can tell he was really rooting for the contestants to win the $5,000 in that.
Okay. Will, your thoughts on how Alex Trebek conducted the proceedings of Double Dare?
To me, honestly, I felt like he did the best he could, but it was definitely laying the groundwork for his eventual stuff on Jeopardy. And especially considering how the show ran. And my favorite thing about the spoilers is he said, when he said about the interactions with the spoilers, it was also kind of funny how when he looked at how those who played the spoilers were interact, most of them looked very uptight and nervous and that. Kind of like that they had no sense of humor whatsoever. Almost about about maybe 10 episodes I've seen of it, because the theme song fast. But it was just funny how he had to deal with those type of people that had almost no humor, and then there's the contestants who he had to make them feel at ease as well.
Now this brings us.
Yeah, I think there was probably one spoiler toward. I think he was on the literal last week of the run that he I forget his name, but you'd recognize him if you saw him in the final weeks. However, he was the only one that tried to exhibit any sort of personality. However, I remember there was one of the sport rounds, there was what was it? They had to do some kind of Shakespeare. I think it was a Shakespearean title or something like that, and he knew it from the first clue, and he actually went so far as to do like a quick 10-second passage from it and stuff like that. He practically put on a show with it.
I remember that.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Right.
Folks, we're going to take a small break. We'll be right back. I can continue this discussion about the career of Alex Trebek right after this.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in the buffer here and stuff like that. Okay, I'm just gonna ask one favor, Dave, because I assume you're gonna do the second half of High Rollers first, correct?
Yep, because it's next in line.
Okay. All right, I'll tell you what. Do me a favor, save me for last night, because as soon as I lead us back in and stuff like that, or whatever, I need to momentarily step away from the computer, because I just had to make sure Joey's teeth get brushed. So I just don't want you to. I don't want to hold you up. I just want to make sure we get. I'm just moving about my paces as I need to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, then.
All right.
Then
Okay.
with that
All right.
said, let's get a
Okay,
countdown and we'll get back
I'll
to
leave
the
it.
show.
I'll leave it in. Okay. So fine. Because I gotta do this. The timing is appropriate. So give me 1 second.
Go ahead.
No, yes, it is. Shh. All right. Shh, stop. No. Stop. I'll tell you in a minute. Brandon's getting questioned here. Okay, stop it. Come on, hold this up.
Which one was that, Brianna or Joey?
Now it's full. Put it down. Go upstairs. Come on. Hold up the party here. Go that way. No, go that way. Go that way. Yes, go get it. You follow her. You follow her. Suddenly, I'm glad we timed the break when we did.
Bye.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
this is the break?
Go. Yes, but come on. We can't leave this too long. Come on. We're not supposed to take that long a break. Okay, come on.
Come on, Joe.
Go that way. Okay. So they're walking away. I'm giving you a 5 count for myself. 5. Okay, here we go. Who's the man with the money, makes a dark day sunny? Who's the fella every day, gives a bundle away? Who's the guy with the prizes that'll light up your eyes? It's never ending, get a friend and get ready to play. Hey, 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 hey. It's the Wizard of Odds. Wizard of Odds. The odds are that you'll be a winner today. It's the Wizard of Odds. Wizard of Odds. The wizard is here, make you feel okay. Hey, 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 hey. I had to.
Folks, that was the theme to the Wizard of Odds, and
we also
by
thanks to
Alan
your backup singers.
and we forget that song was actually written by Alan Peck.
A little late here, trying to run a little.
Song even had the lyrics to
I
it.
would think if you're up there.
Yes, it did.
Although I'm not sorry at the same time. I did my best.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
They say he is
Okay.
a wizard of a whiz. No wonder the whiz he was.
Not that wizard. People need to say.
All right, then. Now this brings us into the second run of High Rollers that Alex Trebek hosted. That everyone starts. This is where the game we know as High Rollers actually came together.
Well,
Start with you.
I know the original. I saw a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How most of my generation remembers High Rollers. Elliot, I know
Yeah,
you're old enough
that.
to have seen the original.
Yeah, so back in my day, we watched game shows on a black and white TV, and we liked it.
Forgive me, you're old enough to remember old episodes of the $10,000 Pyramid.
Yes, I have.
Oh, damn.
That
Like
not to date Elliot, but that's how old Elliot is. He's watched original episodes.
And I wouldn't date any of you guys anyway. You're not my type.
But
all right,
okay, Scott. how did Alex Trebek conduct the second run of High Rollers? Because now it's the game we all pretty much remember.
Well, same as before with the original run. He he kept the show moving and everything. And also in this one, this is where the insurance markers also came into play too. Because I don't think the insurance markers were even in the original run.
I think
of the
they
show.
were in the bonus game. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure.
they were in the big numbers, but they didn't exist in the main game.
But this is like you said, this is the version we all know and love with the prizes up there on the board and clearing out columns and everything. This is the format that worked. But same thing, he conducted himself, did it with the first run.
Okay. Well, your thoughts. How did Alex Trebek conduct himself and conduct the proceedings of the second run of High Rollers?
I feel a lot more better, a lot more calmer, a lot more fun. I just watched the a quick 30-minute promo on they had on YouTube where they premiered a new version of High Rollers, and he was basically doing a promo cut for it, and he looked a lot more like he was having fun with it. So that's pretty much my experience of it. I've only seen like a couple episodes of that version,
Right.
and I remember a few of them, but that's why I got it.
There was one episode, the second run of High Rollers on YouTube. You can actually just watch the clip itself, but the entire episode is there too, where a contestant wins the big numbers, Snake Eyes.
Is that
Wow.
the episode which is that the episode with Gene?
Yeah, who rubbed the dice on his and threw them.
Oh my god! I gotta find this clip.
And the odds of rolling Snake Eyes are 1 in 36.
Especially in time of need like that.
I can't even do it in craps.
That's a
All right.
one.
Elliot, your thoughts on conducted the second run of High Rollers?
He had a lot of fun with the contestants, and he always made sure that they knew the rules. He never really said, "You really do." He often would suggest you could clear a certain game. Sometimes, very rarely. I'm not too sure. Wait, hold on.
And I don't mean to cut you off.
It was
I'll add to yours in a second.
Go ahead. He couldn't exactly point out, hey, there's a 5 in that column left over. You really want to. You think he didn't exactly make it obvious. He said if there's a 5, let's say he rolled an 8 and there was a 5 and a 3 available, and then just an 8 with some other numbers on another column, you'd try. He didn't always steer you toward the 5 and 3. You'd have to notice it yourself.
Ultimately, it's up to the contestant to make the decision themselves.
Right.
I want to add one thing about Alex in this version. The one thing I liked about this version, tried to predict what the hot column would be.
I was just getting ready to mention that.
That's right. They did do that.
Well, Brian's not back yet, so I can't get his.
We'll get him when he
one
comes
thing
back.
one thing I liked about this one was the special games thing. He made those are really there's stupid ways to win a prize, but he made fun of it, especially when they had like you could win a car or a Mickey Mouse watch. But you have to get through this horse race. The odd numbers
that was the Wink Martindale version.
That was Wink Martindale's version.
Oh,
that was Wink Martindale's version.
Games in Alex's version. When they added the mini games into Wink's version, I think it just dragged the game out longer.
No, it was a cost-saving measure. You just could. When Merrill Heater wanted to give you a car, he just couldn't put it up on the board anymore. He had to come up with some other element to try to get the cost down.
Right.
So
I thought Wink.
he put the mini games in there to try to.
Also, the prizes didn't stay on the board if they weren't won.
Yeah. Which is the one thing I liked about Alex. You could have a column full of 5. So you could have a total of 15 prizes up there on the board and everything.
Somebody cleared a board like that one time and won over $40,000 in prizes.
Yeah.
And this was the 70s.
Yeah.
And had that been on any other network but NBC, moment, you've already broken the winning limit.
Right. You would still get to play the bonus round, I'm sure, too, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
would still
still
get
if
to
you
play-
win if you win a game, you still get to play the bonus round, and I think there's a limit to you could choose to forfeit, just like always. You can choose to forfeit certain prizes, like a boat. I live in Utah. Where am I going to go boating?
Right.
In the Great Salt Lake.
But still, all right then. High Rollers, the second run of High Rollers comes to an end.
How long did that run for?
April 24th, 78 to June 20th, 1980.
Yep,
All right,
another
here's
2-year
Brian.
run.
That was Alex's second run. His
Well, here's
original
Brian.
run was July 1st, 74 to June 11th, 76, and became syndicated September 75 to September 76.
Before we move
during-
on, hold on, Dave. Brian's back, so let's get his opinion on it.
Brian, your thoughts. The second run of High Rollers, Alex Trebek. How did Alex Trebek do conducting the proceedings?
Well, I kind of already acknowledged it, the first time, because like I said, I really didn't see, other than just, again, like I said, the idea that they just took away, every individual number had a prize. The idea that they just converted to the 3-column format. That beyond that, the exact style that he used to, again, give his approval or disapproval of people's number decisions and different things like that. He, like I said, he pretty much conducted from his end the same way. And as far as that last episode goes, a lot of people think that he was, let's say, influenced.
Inebriated.
But,
Just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, but there's been nothing to
Prove it.
prove that suggestion. I just take it more from the perspective that he knew it was the last show, so he was just coming into it, just like, it ain't gonna really
Being a
matter
comic.
what I say. What are they gonna do? Cancel us again? So, think of it
Right.
that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually have a friend. That I was trained in Taekwondo with. That one of his friends was actually the very last champion on Trebek's High Rollers.
Oh,
True story.
Okay.
Interesting.
Haven't gotten to meet the guy myself, but it's just cool to know that I have that connection. It's on outside realm.
Now,
awesome.
High Rollers was canceled in 1980. Trebek takes a year off. He doesn't have a regular show he's hosting from 1980 until 1981. But during that time, according to Alex himself, now this is his own testimony, he said that he filled in for a week for an ailing Chuck Woolery on Wheel of Fortune.
Yes, I remember that. I've seen it.
Yeah. And that is what will eventually get him the gig that he's most known for. In 1981,
With
now in
him,
1981, Merrill Heater calls him back up and says, "Hey, I'm going to do this new show on NBC. Do you want to do it?" Battle Stars. player version of Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood triangles.
Shoot for the trap.
Or as Woj called it, the son of Hollywood Squares.
That too. Now, it's an interesting show. I've seen episodes of it. But Alex Trebek has.
I want to ask you something. What was the difference between the original Battlestars and the all-new Battlestars? Was it how the game was played or how you got to capture the stars?
How the game was played.
Yeah, and there was really only one minor difference in that in the new version, which was in '83. Both had 6-month runs. The first one '81, the second one '83. But in the second one, the only major rule that they altered in the main game was that instead of it constantly being a press your luck style thing in terms of what number got selected next, if you got a right answer in the second version, you could freely choose your number. As long as you kept getting right answers, you could just keep saying, okay, I want this one next, that one next, and stuff like that. In the first version, it was always random buttons to determine.
It was always press your luck. They started the randomizer, you pressed a button and stopped it.
Right, correct.
How they determined which
celebrity you had to use for that question.
But landed
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But landed on one of those numbers where it would light up 4. You had to pick one of those 4.
Right.
One that
if it landed on a point, you had no choice but to use that celebrity.
Landed on one that would give you a triangle, you had to use that celebrity.
Yeah, you had to use the celebrity that would give you that star.
Yeah. And if it allowed you to capture more than one, you still picked the one you wanted to use, but getting it right still gave you both of them. Or if the setup really allowed for it, 4 to just get the win.
All right, then. Now, Alex Trebek, later on, as a matter of fact, in an interview he gave a couple of years ago, he said his dream gig was to host Hollywood Squares.
Really?
Closest he could get.
I did not know that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Interesting enough.
Oh,
his dream gig was to host Hollywood Squares. Brian, on a Battlestars, take it away.
Well, I don't know much else we could say with regards to. I mean, like I said, everything about it for what we've said, it other than the actual structure of the board itself, with the number picking, everything else about it played in the same vein as Hollywood Squares did. Celebrity gets a question, celebrity gives an answer, and you got to do the whole agree or disagree thing or whatever. They try to emphasize a little more in Battlestars that the celebrities had a screen that gave them a choice of answers that they would try to pick the right one from, just to separate a little bit from Squares. But beyond that, like I said, that general agree or disagree with the celebrity structure pretty much remained the same.
Well, like I said, this is as close as Alex got to his egg.
As he always describes it, we are a class show. And it pretty much had as much class as the humor on the original Hollywood Squares did. Makes sense being from the same company.
Right. Elliot, your thoughts?
Well, unfortunately, I was in school too much to see episodes. That I saw about 3 or 4 of them, and from what I saw, I saw more episodes on YouTube than I actually saw in real life, when they were actually on TV. From what I saw on the YouTube, the game itself is I like it better on those shows when the contestant just has to bluff. When they're given a choice of answers, then it takes something out of the game.
Okay.
And it leaves you less to improvise with. and then
This
therefore you have to get to pull teeth. It doesn't let the celebrities be celebrities, and then because that's their job to be a comedian, and that's what made Hollywood Squares work so well. But
okay.
now, if
Scott,
you're just there showing yourselves, then that means that if comedians aren't 100% control themselves, then the Alex can't really interact
Right.
with stars and being stars. You know, the show.
All right, Scott,
That
your
was the
thoughts.
crutch they were on.
I don't know too much about the show, so I'm gonna have to pass on this
Okay.
one.
Will, your thoughts?
I've only this is the second time seeing this, and I did feel like it was just a cheap, like a I don't want to say cheap, but kind of like felt like it was like a B-rated version of Hollywood Squares. And you're right. Where we said it was the closest we get to hosting it. That's pretty much what it is. So that's pretty much all I can just speculate on this. Just my lack of experience.
Okay. All right. Now we've talked about the two runs of Battlestars. Now, in between all of this, and this brings us to 1984. And like I said, this all started because Alex Trebek filled in for a week for Chuck Woolery on Wheel of Fortune.
Did we Pitfall yet or no?
Oh yeah, we need to touch that. I'm sorry.
Yes, we
I
do.
skipped Pitfall.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Pitfall comes in between the two runs of Battlestars. And it's the only gig Alex was never paid for. He went to cash the check and the check bounced, according to him.
Yeah.
Was the second 13 weeks that he didn't get paid for. The first 13 weeks he did get paid for.
No, he didn't. He didn't get paid for any of it. He has the check framed in his office.
Oh.
Paid for none of it. According to Alex's testimony, he went to try to cash the check and the check bounced.
Right.
But anyway, Pitfall. Well, interesting concept. Why do you think it based on what he was given, did Alex do a good job? Pitfall's not a very interesting game.
The show is, the show itself was a bit slow, and it was based on it was one of those things based on polls. So you had to sit there and wait for the poll to happen because there were live polls of the audience. So then that took up time, and he had to just stand there and then show the audience. The show really, it was. Well, I didn't really. I liked the game anyway, but the bonus round, that was the best part. But again,
the bonus round was a combination of memory and trivia.
Yeah, and at least at this point, it was all about the contestant playing the game and him reading off the questions, and he could read them off pretty good. That's what made him good. That's what makes him good on Jeopardy. He'll seriously read the questions and not trip over himself like I'm currently doing.
All right, Elliot, your thoughts on Pitfall?
I am Elliot.
What Alex was got.
Yes.
Given what Alex was
Don't confuse me with Scott, please.
All right, I'm sorry. Considering the product that Alex was handed, did he conduct the proceedings the best way he could?
Yes, like Elliot said, the bonus game was more of where you actually saw majority of the show. That's where all the big action happened. They could have done those. They could have done those polls like how Family Feud does. So I think the polls took up most of the show and everything too.
Okay.
Okay.
Will,
The
have you
end game
seen?
could have done more. They could have structured more of the show around the end game and everything.
Yeah. That's a
Will, have you seen Pitfall?
just once on passing by, and it turned me off. But I'm just taking a quick look over here on YouTube video just to get a better idea. And the big set they're using, but I think he's right. It looks like it just drags. Like
All right, considering what Alex was handed here, did he do a good job with what he was handed?
Yeah, he did a better job than most other people would.
Okay.
I'm saying
Now,
it really shine.
Well, Brian has stepped away, so we'll get his thoughts on it here later. Now that brings us to 1984. Yep. Here we go. This brings us to 1984 and Merv Griffin, remembering the job that Alex Trebek did on Wheel of Fortune, calls him up and says, I want you to host the pilot for me. A revival of Jeopardy. Alex Trebek, Ahmed said he was there with bells on.
I didn't see the bells.
Now, well, the point is, he does something right. The show gets on the air. And here's the thing. Many people don't realize this. Merv Griffin actually wanted Art Fleming to come back. Art wouldn't
Whoa.
come back.
What was the reason?
I don't know, but I know in the beginning he wanted Art Fleming to come back, but Art wouldn't come back. I think maybe it was because the intimacy of the original set and all that. There was something written about that. I'm not sure. I can't even say if that was the real reason. I just know Art was approached. Art said no. Open the door for Alex.
Happen if Art did say yes.
We will never know what would have happened. But we know it took 3 pilots to get Jeopardy back on the air. The first pilot, game board and all that, they look like personal computers. I think that pilot's up on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, the amounts are smaller too. They started at 25 at the top instead of 100.
Right. Now, the second and third pilots, which became the show, had the standard amounts 100 to 500.
Also, remember the old Fleming Jeopardy, they started out at 10 at the top in round 1.
Well, no, the second pilot, it was 50, 100, 150 to 250.
Yes.
And in Double Jeopardy, the third pilot, it was 100, 500, 200 to 1,000.
The version that we would come to know and love to today.
The version that eventually made Alex Trebek what we know now.
Right.
Elliot. Now, Elliot, it doesn't need to be said how Alex conducts the proceedings of Jeopardy. He's done the same job for 35 years.
Yep.
And so I will ask this question. Could Merv have, at the time in 1984, found someone different to host Jeopardy and it still attained the success And if so,
Uh,
who would it have been?
who would have been? Who else could have hosted? That's basically what you're asking is pick someone else to host this show and see if it would have held for 30 some years. Probably not. There might have been one person that obviously Bill Cullen would be a good host for that, but eventually, actually, he would have taken too long. He likes to talk about
Well, by that
everything.
point, especially, yeah.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
would.
that was apparent in Joker's Wild. He could host a quiz show, but he was more about interaction with the contestants.
Right, where Alex
Right.
Trebek could like this one you had to, if you want the game to move along and to be this is the intellectual show of all intellectual shows in America anyway. And you really had to one, know your material, know your stuff ahead of time, be really 100% serious. And a lot of game show hosts are out there. The game show host wanted to be a celebrity, where at least with Alex Trebek, he knew at this point his role was, host,
Ask
cop,
questions.
be a cop, be a referee, but don't be a celebrity trying to say, "Hey, look what I'm selling a book. I've got a book."
Is that the game show encyclopedia you have right there, Elliot?
Yes, it is autographed by Alex Trebek, nonetheless.
Yeah, show it up. Show it up for everyone. Yep, go ahead. What's the question, Dave? What was the question?
All right then. 1984. Could Merv Griffin had chosen person in the business at that time to host Jeopardy, and the show attained the success we know today?
Probably not. I mean, Alex became a household name. I mean, he's been spoofed everywhere from Saturday Night Live at this point to Family Guy and everything. So
Yeah.
probably not.
Okay.
To do it,
Well,
I don't think it would have lasted.
So
Will, your thoughts? Could Merv Griffin had chosen anyone else at Jeopardy attain the success we know today?
no, I definitely wouldn't think so because also I wouldn't think so because the amount of game show hosts you had back then was such a small pile that it would just seem like it was just another show that they were just watching. But Trebek took this one and made it his. Like he pretty much took this show and made it where he was going to be a part of it. Like he worked his ass off on this one, you could tell. Whereas most of the other hosts were just getting, just added to their resume, and instead also just almost like talking their own stuff. Their own, that's them,
And
not the contestants. But that's just my take.
And Dave, I want to add one other thing to this as well. At
Go
that
ahead.
time, also, he was also executive producer of Jeopardy too. At that time,
And he created the format for the Tournament of Champions.
yes.
All right, then. Now, Ryan, your thoughts. Could Merv Griffin had chosen anyone else but Alex, and the show still attain its success?
He's not here.
Was. Okay.
No, he got up. We'll come back to him.
Okay.
I think he's there. I think he's dealing with the kids.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Okay. Now, Alex is doing Jeopardy in syndication. He does some pilot for network shows at this time. Including
you really
a
gotta
pilot
concentrate on that.
for an attempted third revival of High Rollers that Merle Heater named Lucky Numbers. It was pretty much a buttered up version of High Rollers, but
I never saw.
Still.
I will have to look that one up. Is there an episode
There's
on
two-
YouTube?
yes, there is. As a matter of fact, both pilots are on YouTube.
Lucky numbers.
that
I will look
version-
that one up.
And that version of the show played more or less to the game of craps.
Yeah. More or less to the version of Craps and more or less to the original first run of High Rollers, because prizes were attached to each number instead of columns. But he does that. Eventually, Wink Martindale takes a third version of High Rollers to the air in 1986. And somewhere in the middle of this, Mark Goodson picks up the phone.
87 is High Rollers, not 86.
Okay, 87. And somewhere in the middle of this, NBC has hired Mark Goodson to try to revive one of their old shows. Because remember, NBC are the owners of the show, not Mark Goodson. Mark Goodson to produce it. Mark has already filmed 2 pilots for this show, and it's not worked. And picks up the phone and calls Alex Trebek for some reason. He says, I want you to host a pilot for me. And it becomes the other show that Alex Trebek is most known for. Classic Concentration. We'll start with you, Elliot. Your thoughts on how Alex conducted the proceedings of Concentration.
At this point, it's where his ego kind of gets the best of him. At this stage of the game, the late 80s, early 90s, he goes through this period where he has a big ego. And it definitely shows on this show. He does have a little more fun with it, but if you ever see him personally, I've actually met him on 2 occasions, and you just see the ego shining right through there. I actually had to cut him down a little bit. And you always make one of the categories that they often would run would be nuclear physics. It's not as bad as it seems, but me being the geeky type student I was back in my college days, I asked him point blank, why do you always make fun of nuclear physics? That's one of my best categories. And he just said, well, he kind of says, well, a lot of people are not interested in that kind of stuff. He gives an explanation, but ever since he stopped making fun of the category.
Mm-hmm. Wait. I'm confused about something. Hold on. So wait. You had this cover. I'm confused where that gets into. Wait, because that sounds like a Jeopardy conversation, not a concentration one.
Well, in concentration. Well, in concentration though, that's where his ego shows, and he really starts to show his ego in '88. I got to meet him in '90.
Okay.
So
now
it does carry over, but it's like I proof of what I've seen of Alex. He does show his ego a lot more in concentration than in Jeopardy. Jeopardy has to keep to himself a little bit more.
Okay, Scott, in your opinion, how did Alex Trebek conduct these of concentration? Because let's consider Concentration and Jeopardy are 2.
Well,
and he's
we could throw in the third. We could throw in the third one too. At this time, also he was also doing To Tell the Truth.
We'll get to that. That's the last. We'll get to that here in a second. But keep going.
I call these 3 shows the triple threat that he did.
Because he was doing 3 classics.
Okay, say that 5 times fast.
Triple threat. Yeah.
Triple threat.
How he conducted himself.
Order in the court.
How he conducted the proceeding concentration.
With it. The Concentration is not a serious show. I mean, he had fun with it. Even when he would go over even after the puzzle was solved and he would go over to explain it, or when parts of the puzzle would be exposed, he would have fun with it. He would have his corpse with it and say, very interesting, or, we'll reveal those 2 pieces. And it would show nothing behind it. Like,
all right.
He had fun. He had fun with that and everything.
Will, your thoughts on how Alex conducted the proceedings of Concentration?
totally different night and day. He did appear. Oh god, because I remember him doing that stint, and I don't remember why it was canceled because I thought it was kind of weird. He was doing 2 shows at once. I didn't see him doing that, to tell the truth. And training was a completely different beast, and he tried to have fun with it, and he tried to also interact more with the contestants here because Jeopardy was always just kept him to that point between the first round. Here, it's like he does it every so often, and he's talking to him.
Hey,
He did the best he
Brian.
could, but
Okay.
hey, he did
Sorry,
the
go
best he
on.
could.
Didn't mean to cut you off.
As I was saying, he did the best he could. I think he just felt more comfortable doing Jeopardy. Like I said, it just seemed to be more where he was more relaxed and more himself there.
All right, Brian, your thoughts on how Alex conducted the proceedings of concentration. Is there anything he could have did different, or did he nail it right out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, this one, didn't have as much for him to do, because of the fact that it's just they're calling numbers. He's just saying, what's behind them and things like that. And just match, no match, and all that business. So there's not really, there wasn't much more for him to involve himself with that. I mean, you could tell he was still. It was still a looser game than Jeopardy was, so he was trying to have more fun with it and do things like that. The probably as time wore on, the thing he most got amusement out of, if anything, he might have just self-imposed this just to make the job a little more fun for himself. Whatever was when they would always introduce, okay, here's one of the prizes in today's game, and you had the Marjorie Goodson Cut, the model on the show, showing the prize and stuff like that. And occasionally, there would be some sort of unexpected humor in the presentation, just something improvised in the modeling, and he wasn't Alex wasn't afraid to call out on that. So, but other than that, it was just a basic by the numbers game, and no, Trebek got a very good life out of it.
All right then, and now that brings us to the last network show hosted, To Tell the Truth.
Dave,
Now,
I want to add one thing in here as an honorable mention before we get to doing To Tell the Truth.
okay, go ahead.
Point, he was also doing the National Geographic B.
No,
He was
doesn't
hosting
start doing the National Geography B until it's created. Yeah, it was 1988 was the first National Geography B.
Was he with it from the
So, yeah.
beginning?
That was the first B.
Let's see. I just wanted to throw that in there as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay, but when was he doing it?
He was the host of the B from the beginning until maybe 3 years ago when Mo Rocca took over.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know if I knew he was associated with it for a long time. No, I didn't know if he had actually started with it or not. So
yeah, he started there. He also hosted the Canadian Geographic B at the same time as well.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that, Dave. I just wanted to throw that in there as an honorable mention.
Okay. Actually, I think the National Geographic Society couldn't have got anyone better. I mean, Alex at the time was the #1 quiz show host, so who better to ask geography questions to kids than the #1 quiz show host at the time?
of course.
Right.
And that brings us to Tell the Truth. He was the third host of the 1990 version. Through no fault of his own, literally fell into the job. I mean, there is an actual statistical oddity that comes with that. He gets the job after Lynn Swan has to be, for some reason. Lynn Swan got the job after after that Australian guy had to be fired.
Wooden Elliott.
Huh?
Yeah, there was it was some kind, if I recall correctly, there was some form of a contract complication with Gordon, which led to him leaving the show just before Christmas of 1990. That's when Lynn Swan came in, and then as Cindy Seidelman over at Game Show Garbage likes to put it, Lynn Swan basically was corpsing, and somebody's corpsing, send for the man, and that's what they did. They brought Trebek over, so that was officially the time, as Scott said, the Trebek triple threat, because he was pulling duty, hosting 3 shows at the same time. I think he's the only other man besides Bill Cullen to actually be doing that at any point in his career, to be hosting 3 separate game shows simultaneously, I think.
And I want to throw in here with that, and with he actually had to leave because his wife was giving birth, so Goodson had to step in.
I was getting ready to get to that oddity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but anyway, Brian, in your opinion, how did Alex get the to tell the truth?
Well, I've tried to do my best to look back on To Tell the Truth a little bit more nowadays, because the panel shows when I was a kid growing up, like To Tell the Truth and other shows similar to it, didn't really fly well with me, because, like I said, obviously there was less game involved, so it was a little harder for me to follow and understand. So at the time, if you were asking me at the time it was on, when I was only 12, 13 or whatever, I wouldn't have given it such a great opinion. Again, this is probably, out of all the shows that Trebek ever did, this one pretty much has the least that he needs to do, because everything else is the whole body of the show is the interactions between the celebrities grilling the contestants with regards to trying to find out who's the main one. So this is more of a moderator thing rather than a hosting job. That's true of everybody that's ever did To Tell the Truth.
So in your opinion, there was really no way to conduct the proceedings. It was just Alex sit down in the chair, read the affidavit, say which celebrity has to start the questioning, and then say, will the real X please stand up?
Right, yeah. But obviously there's still an efficiency and a decorum that needs to be done even in that. And out of the 3 it did. I mean, it's a shame about Gordon Elliott in the first place, but Trebek was obviously just as capable.
One thing in with that, the pilot too. Remember, the pilot got aired in some networks too.
East Coast, yeah, they aired the Richard Klein pilot on accident on the East Coast the first day.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had that.
Yeah.
As Cindy pointed out too in that too.
Elliot, your thoughts on Alex Trebek as host of To Tell the Truth?
Well, that was in the early 90s. I was living under a rock during that time, so couldn't do it. Yeah, when you're in college, you don't get the only thing you watch is Star Trek.
Did you know about Geico then when you were living under the rock?
No. Wrong rock.
Scott, your thoughts on Alex? Your thoughts on Alex Trebek as hosting?
He did a great job with it. No, I think Alex did a great job with it. At that point, he found his momentum on how to do the shows and everything. And, you could stick him in anything and he would do, and, tell him the rules. This is how the game plays. And, he would go out there and do it to the best he could and everything.
Okay.
And it's still a great show today, even though, to tell the truth.
Okay.
It would bring it back.
Will, your thoughts on Alex Trebek as host of To Tell the Truth?
Pretty much everybody said what my main thoughts were. He just was more of a moderating gig. He did the best he did. He did a moderating gig, but that's just him. It's pretty much almost the same thing, just a moderating, just sitting around, almost like a babysitting thing. So,
yeah. No dog food was given to the contestants during Alex's run on To Tell the Truth.
No, he wouldn't let it get. He wouldn't let it get that.
No.
Okay then.
But you remember where I got that from too.
Yeah. Yes, I remember where you got that from.
The Stroganoff one.
That's scary.
I saw that clip.
Besides the Super Champions Jeopardy tournament on ABC in the summer of 90 or 91, last,
Super Jeopardy. That's what it was called. Super Jeopardy.
but it was still a bunch of past and present Jeopardy champions competing for $250,000.
One from the Fleming era, and everything, and everybody else was from the Trebek era.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
either way, that was the last network show that Trebek has hosted. Since then, as far as I know, he's done no pilots for any other shows and has pretty much stuck.
Jeopardy.
Okay.
Well, if you
Now-
really want to go back, you skip one from a pilot that he did in 1983. Malcolm.
Yeah, I remember that, but we kind of tend to.
Yeah,
Alex doesn't want to know about Malcolm.
that one you have to kind of see.
Look that up, guys. That's one this is an assignment will be left up to the viewer.
So that Alex did the pilot that became Love Me Not for USA.
Right.
Ah.
That was given to us today. That was given to us earlier today by Woj.
Yeah.
So Woj,
Now we have to have. That brings us now to this discussion. 35 years into it, Alex earlier in late 2017 had brain surgery. Personally, this is my thoughts on it. Some people have other thoughts. The official statement is Alex is under contract to 2020.
Right.
However, I think that brain surgery, say, this is a career.
Yeah, it's really
Ryan,
that is the case.
We're going to start with you. Is Alex's successor on Jeopardy?
Yeah, and this is always going to be the toughest conversation because we thought nobody could replace Bob Barker. Drew has certainly tried for 10.5 years, and that's our conversation for next time.
That's our conversation next time.
Yes, that'll be our next show, folks. Yeah, there was supposed to be this one, but obviously certain things took precedent. Anyway, getting back on point. But the idea of, because this has obviously been talked about for at least the last, what would you say, about 8-10 years, people have been talking about, when's Trebek stepping down, who's going to take his place, because they talk about this one a lot more than who's going to replace Sajak on Wheel of Fortune, right?
Or Vanna, for that matter.
True, yeah, but everybody talks about this job because this is the one that people worry more about it being run and read capably and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, the most common names that are put out there right now are with regards to, most will say either Dan Patrick, who very capably did Sports Jeopardy, and a lot of people keep mentioning Anderson Cooper too, and stuff like that.
And I'm one of those people that will say
Jeff Probst, his name comes up too because he did Rock and Roll
Jeopardy. No, that's true. But he's so engrossed in Survivor that it's like I don't feel like he's I don't feel like he's consciously put himself in the running in that regard. So it's really a tough call. It's like you ask me on any given day, and I feel like my answer is going to change on this question.
Okay, Elliot, who is Alex's ultimate successor?
I like the guy. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but the guy that's currently doing Millionaire, he's young enough to actually get a good 20 years in.
Chris Harrison.
Yeah, I think he could do it.
I think we'd have to be conscious.
Harrison could do it. Do you think so? Well, we have to realize Sony also owns Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Do you think Sony will just trade him Jeopardy if the situation arises?
I think Millionaire could only. I think Jeopardy is more of it's a bigger asset than Millionaire. Millionaire, just about anyone could do that job for a year. We've seen them go. For a while, they made a couple of bad picks for Millionaire. I did not really like Cedric the Entertainer on that one, but that's another conversation. But the
Elliot,
yes, yeah, I just think that that the guy that's hosting, I can't, I still can't.
Chris Harrison.
Harrison?
Chris Harrison, I think he can
Chris
do it.
Harrison.
Yeah, that'd be my
Now.
pick for right now.
Okay. Scott, who is Alex's ultimate successor?
I'll agree. I'll say Jeff Probst, the guy that did Sports Jeopardy, if that's still going on.
Patrick.
No.
Yeah, and
And
Woj
Patrick.
Woj
ahead.
brought this up also. One of the people from the Clue Crew could do it too.
No,
I would like
The Clue
maybe
Crew keeps changing, though.
yeah. Well, here's an interesting one that I throw in there, and I put Anderson Cooper up there too, because we know Cooper did the Mole. He started out doing the Mole. What about Mark L. Wahlberg, the one that did Russian Roulette? I could see him doing this.
Now, we're forgetting that in the middle of all this, the first name that always got thrown around was Matt Lauer, but that whole
that-
different ball of wax now, considering.
I'm not sure I could have seen it anyway.
Or
Okay.
how about or maybe even from ABC, maybe George Stephanopoulos, one, or someone like that.
Okay. Well, who was Alex's ultimate successor?
Okay,
And I will throw in one more name too.
go for it.
Quickly.
Todd Newton. I'll throw in Todd Newton. I think Todd could do a good job with Jeopardy too.
That one.
Todd is too much
I
like
don't know if that's going to happen.
Bill Cullen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Todd is too much like Bill Cullen. He has to have contestant interaction.
Definitely not Probst. I'll say that straight up right now. Definitely not Probst because he's got, besides Survivor, that's pretty much his baby, and he's not going to leave that. That's too much of his.
But we have to remember CBS is also the distributor of Jeopardy, so they might accommodate it.
That'd be difficult because doesn't Survivor take about maybe 30? Look about maybe I think like about 2.
Yeah,
months.
you're right. It takes a lot of time out of the year. That's the other thing that works against it. And
An episode of Survivor takes 39 days to shoot. That's it.
Yeah, whole series. That's like about that. So then that would be every so often they're gonna be
Well,
recording.
a season of Survivor takes 39 days to shoot because remember the game only lasts 39 days.
Yeah, that means for every so often
year, though.
host.
Yeah.
And taping any season of game shows, really, it's only for Jeopardy they have the 50-some. I think if I just try to do the math in my head right now, we have 52. We have 46 weeks, so it's like 46 days. It only really takes 2 months of actual taping every day for 2 months straight, and you got yourself a season. That's how they do Millionaire. They do Millionaire in 2 bouts of 4 weeks, and they can do Jeopardy just as well. Maybe 2 bouts of 5 weeks. You have it. It does not take long to do a game show and have all those episodes in the can.
Yeah, it's not a question of if they can or not. It's that it just comes down to would it be
when they can do it?
But who's to say?
Right.
Folks, it's a decision
Yes,
that
I
Alex
also know
is
about my
not the.
Julie Chen opinion, but back last year, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Like I said, he's under contract to 2020, but he's under no obligation to what I understand, no obligation to fill out the remainder of the contract, particularly now after what's happened. So he could say, this is it.
We shall see.
Yep.
Folks, this has been an amazing conversation about the career of Alex Trebek. I want to thank Brian, Elliot, Scott, and Will. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Next time, folks, our subject on Game Show Talking Fun. Drew Carey, 10 years as host of The Price is Right. We hope you'll be here for us then. Be here with us then. Until then, I'm David Hammond for my entire panel. Good night, everybody.
And we'll be live